Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Humali here with a very special guest, Vikra. I guess you're not that special anymore because you've been on my channel.
Too many times.
Too many times.
I thought this was gonna be like a 1 or 2 time thing. I've been on here way too
Yeah,
much.
because you're enjoying it. You're loving my
No,
world.
I just keep getting requests from you to hop on these. So
Yeah, because you're famous now. People want to see you.
definitely not. But let's get this started.
As you guys know, there is a lot going on in this world with COVID, and it's bringing a lot of people fear and uncertainty and anxiety, and we just want to spread a little bit of positivity in these dark moments. So we hope this video makes you feel somewhat better. Throughout this video, we are going to be talking about the positives that come out of COVID and how you can look at the situation through a better light.
So a number of positive things that we've identified that have come out of this whole COVID situation. We're going to go through some of them. The first one that we want to talk about is just really how it's impacted our lives, and mainly like what have we got out of this because we're pretty much quarantined.
I know,
at home
and it
24/7.
seems awful, but there are some good things that came out of it.
So a couple of things is like, in terms of our work life, I was super busy with work and doing this wedding stuff. So now I've shifted all my attention to work because work's kind of been crazy, and it's really cool to see how all of us have rallied at work and get all of our work done, because I do work in the grocery business. It's impacted us a lot. So in terms of like really focusing on my work or learning a lot more things, it's kind of impacted me well in that way. I think that's really specific to me. I don't know if that applies to a whole lot of people.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But I've gotten more time to do work, which is something I actually enjoy, and so that added time has been a benefit.
I feel the same way. Like, I feel like because of this wedding, I was super busy with planning it, and I didn't get enough time to push out content the way I wanted to, talk about topics the way I wanted to freely, and this has given me the time to open up with you guys a little bit more, be a little bit more candid, and make a lot more content. I wanted to get on TikTok and YouTube more, and now I feel like I've been able to make time for it. So that's been nice in my sense, and I know there's a lot of people out there that have lost their jobs, which is really, really unfortunate, and I'm so sorry to hear that. But if you are in this position, this is a great time for you to start on a passion project, because not like you have anything else to do.
That's actually a really good point, because I'm assuming if say you became unemployed now because of this situation, I presume it's going to be very difficult to find a job anywhere.
I mean, you can't even look for a job right now because it's not like anyone's doing interviews or whatever at this point.
You're probably not going to, your job opportunity is probably going to be quite low. And I'm assuming, depending on where you live, I don't know how your government's set up, but like for us, they're offering unemployment payments for people who are self-employed and are affected by all of this kind of stuff, or people who have just lost their jobs in general can file for unemployment. So they're making a set amount of money, but perfect time to figure out what you want to do in terms of a business. If you ever wanted to start a business, put your business plan together, what your business model looks like, the whole package, you could figure all that time out now, instead of, just kind of resting on our laurels.
Just like loafing around kind of thing, worrying and,
Which
sitting
is like
in your own sorrow.
Something that I want to start doing. I've been really, really busy with work, and I'm trying to figure out how I want to ration my time. I do want to read more. And I do want to figure out, is there something that I can do for myself, and not work with 9 to 5 anymore? I mean, I do like my job, but I mean, it's a good opportunity to just explore.
One thing Vikra and I have been kind of talking about, like, throughout this whole time we've been together is like, this would be a great time for him to start a passion project and see what kind of things he could dive into, potentially doing research on things that he could dive into potentially, because Vickers always wanted to do something on his own but has never had time to really discover what he's wanted to do. So this is a great opportunity for you to kind of do that, and I think that's a great opportunity for a lot of people.
I know it sounds like an excuse. If you have a passion project, you got to find the time, and I get all that.
Yeah.
But this is like a insane amount of time that I've been given.
Like, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah, what else are you gonna do? Exactly.
I also feel like this has been a great time for me to be able to catch up on rest. I've been so overworked this past year, and I think you have been too, with this wedding and keeping up with work and all that good stuff. I've just felt really, really tired, and this has been a great time for me to catch up on rest and practice some more self-care, I would say.
Yeah, I've been spending more time around like doing things around the house or just cooking in general, which has been fun. Like just trying out different things. I didn't have all the time to cook during the week,
Yeah.
and now I get to do that. And I've gotten her to start
I
cooking.
know, I cooked
That is
one
that is my
time.
that is a passion project for me is to get her to figure out how to cook basic shit. So stay tuned for that. There's gonna be a video coming up for that.
I cooked chili chicken the other day and I was so proud of myself.
Yeah, it turned out
So
really
it's
good.
given me time to do things like that too, just like things that I've never really done before.
And we both came up with this idea of starting like a book club between us. And so essentially, we'll each of us will nominate 2 books, and we all have to read all 4 books collectively. Just books on, hey, this is something that I'm interested in, but I think it would be cool for you to learn more about. Why don't you read this book? Or if you feel like, hey, there's probably things that always wanted you to know a little bit more about
Yeah.
to help some of our conversations a little bit better. And then boom, here's a book on that kind of stuff, right?
Exactly.
So things like that, I think it's a cool idea. I've been wanting to read more. I think
Same.
reading is so like I haven't read in a long
Important,
time.
but I haven't made time. I'm not a huge reader. I don't really like reading, but I've always wanted to get into it because all the smartest people I've seen and watched always say to read, and I've just never really gotten into it. So definitely going to take the time to try and do that. Besides seeing positives just for ourselves, we have been seeing positivity around the world too. I've been seeing so many people come together in a time like this, which is really nice to see how much people care and how big-hearted people are. Like you'll see videos online of people jamming out on their balconies and hanging out and singing together and all that stuff, which is really, really cute, I think, because when else would you ever see a scenario like that?
Yeah, so it's been really good to see all of the amazing things that's been going on and people coming together, and I think all of it is kind of like unprecedented at this time. And we're in North America, and we're kind of behind in terms of like it really went big in Europe before it got here. So we've gotten like a head start to see how this has developed and how bad it's got in those countries.
And we've gotten a lot of advice from those countries.
Yeah.
As
Oh man,
well,
I've
which
been like,
is
I've been
nice to hear.
reading so much about them to see what's going on, to see how it's gonna shake out here, and we saw obviously like Italy has been hit pretty bad, and Germany's been taking a lot of their patients, like actually flying their patients into their country and bringing them into their ICUs and taking care of them, and they've done that for other countries as well. So like it's amazing that a lot of these countries are coming together and working
and then, like,
together.
the Cuban doctors too. They
They flew out 50 Cuban doctors to Italy. Yeah. So it's amazing to see that all these countries are actually sharing their resources
and trying to come together and help each other out.
and not doing the opposite in terms of restricting supplies and just keeping it for themselves.
So yeah, it's really nice to see everyone coming together like that, especially on a global scale, because this is the first time in our generation something has happened on a global scale, and it's nice to know that people aren't against each other, rather actually trying to help each other. And as much as this is bringing us together, I think this whole situation is also humbling all of us. It's very clear that the virus does not discriminate. It can hit anyone and everyone, doesn't matter of your race, your gender, your status. So at this point, everyone is equal, and I think that's what it's really, really showing us.
I think what this really speaks to is like a lot of the arguments, debates, and battles countries or people had with each other prior to COVID. I'm hoping most of us look back on some of those and realize how a lot of them are very, very solvable problems, and they don't require the amount of like hatred, and in some cases violence that comes out of it. And we're all facing the same threat at the same time right now. And I don't think that's ever happened in our generation.
Yeah.
So like we all have to collectively come together to kind of figure it out.
And one positive thing I think that is coming out of this, even though it might seem negative, is that it's showing people's true colors. Like you are seeing which people are grimy, are like money hungry, that don't really care for others. And I think it's really like pointing those people out very clearly. And I hope those people do realize like that's not how you should be in general, like not just in this situation but in general. And I hope it does help change their minds and make them realize how awful they're being.
So I think that one of the biggest things that I took away from this whole thing is basically how the last 100 years, in terms of how like since our industrial revolution, since we came with machines and global trade, and how just everything has exploded and expanded in everything that we do.
Especially in terms of our economy.
Yeah, in terms of economy, and more specific to like our livestock, right? So we were watching like a video on Vox, which I highly recommend you guys watch, and it was basically the origin story of why folks in China and certain parts of the region are eating certain wild animals that we typically wouldn't eat in other parts of the world.
And sorry, I'll link that video for you guys below so you guys can watch it and don't have to go searching for it.
So just to detail or give you Cole's notes of that of this video that Hamali will post, is basically origin story of where this coronavirus has come from, and allegedly it has started in China, in Wuhan. And basically the story goes is back in the day, the government was providing all the livestock for everybody to eat. And when the population grew so much and it came to a point where the government couldn't meet the demand, basically they allowed everyone to kind of, if you can because people were going starving, right? So that if you can get out of your own poverty by eating whatever you could, then essentially it was like, go for it. And so people began eating their own, eating wildlife that was in their regions, like bats or other animals, and they were also selling that wildlife too. And that's kind of where these wet markets came from.
And that was to help them get out of poverty.
Yeah, that was to help them get out of poverty, to like kind of manage on your own and do what you can, if you will. So these wet markets didn't live up to the standard of sanitation that you need if you're dealing with food. Essentially what happened, right? You watch the video and you can conclude your own decision or conclude your own opinions on that. So that's kind of where this whole thing started. And I think it's very, very clear that, you know, we have mismanaged the resources on Earth, and Mother Nature has responded and with this form of virus, right? And it's just kind of a heads up to say, hey, look, you've been given all of these precious resources. Now you need to treat them with respect and work collectively amongst yourselves to make and make sure that you're protecting this planet, but also protecting each of us. And I think that was like the biggest message.
Yeah, like work together. And it's not like fend for yourself. It's like we're all in this together. We're all connected. And I think besides the point of working together collectively and sharing the resources and looking out for each other, you can also see a change in the way Earth is in general, like with pollution, with climate change. I think this is a really big eye-opener as well.
That's like the next one, that like this is virus, and then climate change, the repercussions of climate change, whatever form that is going to be the next thing that decimates us.
But like you're starting to see, because like we've all kind of shut down, you're starting to see the Earth kind of healing. Like they were saying, the water, the canals in Italy, the water like was clearing up. You're starting to see fish and like animals and stuff like that in the water. So you're starting to see smog and stuff like that in really polluted cities reduce. And I think this is a really big eye-opener to show you that climate change is real and we are the ones fucking up the Earth, basically.
And I think this will hopefully sober us again enough to start being more proactive with our crisis management plans around like these kind of things. Like it clearly seems like we were 100% underprepared to handle this. We don't have the right equipment, resources, capacity in our healthcare system to handle any of this. So what is a mitigation plan?
And I think a lot of people have been like a lot of smart people have been warning, I guess the government or the world, that the pandemic is the next thing that will wipe out the human race. And I mean, I think this is a very good scenario that gives us a reality check that that is true, and that we do need to be prepared in the future. So hopefully like our governments and our healthcare system is way more prepared in the future. I mean, hopefully this never happens again, but I hope they do prepare better.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I would hope to see governments do is start taking more long-term decisions.
Yeah.
Stop making decisions that affect every 4-year election cycle. Like we need to start thinking 10, 15, 20 years down the road. Don't promise decisions just to help get you elected for 4 years.
Yeah, I think that is one of the main things, because in the past, like people would be making such short-term decisions and then look at the awful impacts it's had on Earth years and years and years later. So
I
we
think
need
that's
to be thinking, yeah,
That's probably one big
way
thing
more long-term.
to fix, but we'll see.
Another thing that's, I don't know if it's like positive, but I think I am grateful for it. In a situation like this, we have social media and phones and technology to actually like help us get through this, keep us entertained, keep us connected, keep us informed. And as much as that is a good thing, it can also obviously be a bad thing because you get a lot of misinformation from there. But I think we are very, very lucky to be living in a era where we have technology to be able to be this connected.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing on that I want to talk about is like the misinformation part, because it's incredibly powerful for us to be connected and share the right information.
Mm-hmm.
But man, if the wrong information gets out and that stuff goes viral, it's so hard to
like reel it back in.
Yeah, it's so hard to go backwards. It's done. It's out there. Everyone, like half the people believe it, and then it's so hard to go back, man.
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, so great that we can, like, honestly, I could not imagine going through this like back in the day and not having like TV, Netflix. I can't FaceTime people. I can't like call someone up. Like I can't do anything. I just like sit in my own misery at home. So I think it's a really, really great time to change your mindset from like, oh, this sucks and I hate being apart from everyone and like I hate this whole situation, to being very grateful that, you know, you have a safe place to stay, you have food to eat, you can still talk to people and socialize.
That is so facts. All we're being asked to stay at home.
Yeah.
And there's so many parts of the world where like they can't even act on physical distancing because they live in poverty. They're just like crammed together, so they can't even like do this if they wanted to. So if you have the luxury to do so, let's call it, then that's all that's required.
Yeah, you should be very, very grateful for that. I know we are. So those are the things that we find are really positive that are coming out of this. And I think this is a great time to reflect and regroup about ourselves, about our world. I think there's a lot of things that we definitely need to change about ourselves and the world. And I think this is the time to do that. I think after this, we will all have like just a serious reality check. And I really hope people kind of get it together and actually take action towards making a change.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing once we get out of this is actually doing that, is acting, like taking the right steps and making the changes, because I think we're all going to be living in a completely different world post COVID. So I think a lot of things are going to change, and are we going to do the right things to make sure that we don't end up in the same cycle
like vicious cycle?
For this continuing over and over again.
So I really hope you guys take this time to reflect on what you want out of your life, because this could either be a new ending or a new beginning for you. And I think it's really up to you to decide which one you want it to be. Anyways, guys, that's all we have for you today. I hope this video put a smile on your face and help you create a better, positive mindset about this whole situation. And if you did like this video, please do not forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. And as always, thank you so much for all the love and support you constantly show us. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!
Peace.